Part 74. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 733. 733 Full text. Den Mingyuan did not expect that the boy had guessed so many words from others, and could not help but sigh, "Your boy is indeed a gifted person, and he is smarter than us old guys." Yekong pulled Den Mingyuan with a smile and said, "Then disciple number 9546, please tell me how to trade here." Den Mingyuan took Yekong to a ball. I saw that the ball was about half the height of a person, the same black as the wall, and the surface was shiny as if there was liquid flowing. When people came, the surface of the ball looked like an electronic screen with fonts. Den Mingyuan introduced, each of these shows different types of items, some are selling exercises, some are selling elixir, and there are magical instruments, magic weapons, spells, heavenly treasures. Den Mingyuan pointed to the front again. Yuan Kaiu said, "Here are the names of the shops, items, and prices. As long as you are optimistic about a certain item, you can buy it directly. You don't need to contact the owner, but you can't bargain." Yekong nodded, "This is similar to the online shopping on the earth, but how to trade?" Den Mingyuan also explained, "To shop here, you must first store enough spirit stones in your space. After purchase, the items will be automatically delivered to your space. Of course, if you sell items, you can save them in your space. Put in the item, put the price on it, and it will be displayed here shortly. Advanced, just like online shopping." Yekong asked again, "Is there a hot ball around which people are buying?" Den Mingyuan looked at it and laughed, "Several over there are not for sale, but they are offering rewards and buying information. For example, if you want to find someone, you want to kill, or you want to buy and sell any items, you can go to the reward area, post the task, and then someone will contact you, and there is a bargain." "Oh, that's it." Yekong nodded. The round ball in front of him was specifically for selling exercises. He glanced around casually, and a sudden line of words caught his attention. "Shop Chen Guzai sells Hehuanzong Hehuan basic skills, all, the price is 1 million. Den Mingyuan also saw this type of line, and laughed, "These ancient Chenzai are selling some classic books, the price is expensive, and very few people ask for it. What kind of acacia practice is not a practice of our magic practitioners at first glance? 10,000 spirit stones cannot be sold, and it is really funny to mark 1 million spirit stones." Den Mingyuan again said, "In fact, the best sellers here are the monks who converted to Kangming to explore. During the ancient wars, many lands were broken into Kangming. Among them, there are many blessings in Xianfu. You can mark the sky-high price of any strange panacea, and there are still people rushing to buy it. I didn't know my elder brother bought the elixir, and I heard that a monk got the elixir from the 5 elements Xianfu." Oh yeah, Hollow nodded his head, his thoughts flew up. With so many denominations in Kangnan, aren't those Yuanyings looking for the second half of the exercises? They opened the Kangbei channel, the purpose is not the exercises. Is there a basic practice of the acacia sect sold by Chen Guzai? But with the whole word written on the back, that is probably the full text. This whole book of exercises sold for 1 million, Yekong really wanted to say, what a hair. Take it back to Kangnan, Yitong's ancestors are also willing to come out. If there are all the other methods, Yekong's first thought was to get rich. However, getting rich is a future thing, and now someone is still poor. Den Mingyuan introduced for a long time, and after seeing Yekong basically understood, he was ready to leave. He has been busy selling the best Daidandan and Yanjai Yuan Dan everywhere recently. He bought goods from Yan's house very cheaply, and the Black Devil was selling them all year round, so he could not sell them, so he took goods from Yan's house and sold them one by one, making a lot of money. Yekong didn't know that the old boy was making huge profits from the elixir he had refined, otherwise he had to blackmail the old man. Den Mingyuan left, Yekong wandered around the trading floor again, and after a full half-day, he stopped and sighed, "There are too many good things, even if I am a billionaire, it is not enough. All kinds of rare materials, many have never heard of it. The 10,000-year-old spirit grass is a fart, and it has been sold for millions of years. Various magical elixir, functions you can't think of. Everyone in Kangnan is vying for it, all the sectarian envious ancient treasures, then there are more. As for the reward area, it is even more exaggerated. Throughout the article, it is the task of assassinating the gods. Of course, the price was unthinkable by Yekong. He moved to the billion spirit stone and assassinated a late of the transformation god, and the price was 2 billion. Other things are not very useful. Yekong wants to find Jindan pill, he will have Dan sooner or later. It is better to prepare this thing early. Find Jindan Wan Yekong, look again, good guys, there are quite a lot, ordinary Jindan Wan, 500,000 per capsule, water Jindan Wan, 1 million per capsule, fire gold Dan Wan, 1.3 million each, high quality Jin Dan Wan, 1.5 million each, high quality water-based Jin Dan Wan, 2.5 million each. The most outrageous thing is that the meat Dan Mozong produced each it is a Jindan pill, with a quantity of 5.8 million per capsule and a limited quantity. Yekong took a sigh of coolness, and one Jindan pill could sell 5.8 million, which is too exaggerated, and I don't know where the meat Dan Mozong is made. Yekong strolled for a long time, and he liked a lot of things, but he was shy. Back in his own space, Yekong thought that he had no spirit stone, but we have something. Selling things is money. So Yekong sorted things out. Kangbei kills so many monsters and sells them. The condensed chalcedony obtained in the devil area, sell. The spirit grass cultivated by the soil, then forget it, people have been there for millions of years, and they can't take it for thousands of years. When Yekong was in Kangnan, he felt that he was a rich man. When he came to Mozong in black, he knew that he was poor. There were not many of them that he could sell, and you were embarrassed to hang them. Finally, Yekong took out 10 pieces of amethyst and put them on. The city's demons valued 150,000 pieces of amethyst. The uniform price here is 1.8 million. Yekong couldn't help but despise the city's demons again. In fact, Yekong really wanted to throw the male and female beasts on the shelf, but looking at that thing was too big, and Yunyeo didn't have these flood-dead ancient beasts, so they didn't come out because they were afraid of attracting attention. Everything was thrown on the shelf, and Yekong left using the teleport service. Sure enough, the only coordinate that was available was the position that Yekong transmitted last time. With Yamang's mana, naturally he would not fall into the pond as embarrassingly as he did last time. After appearing in the sky, he used flying and landed by the pond. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 734. 7 or 3,000 miles. It's already midnight. The sky was dark red and black, and there was no trace of wind in the air quietly. Yekong entered the Black Devil sect at noon. I didn't expect to stay there for so long. But there are so many good things in it, it's almost dazzling. Presumably, everyone who enters the Black Demon for the first time will linger in front of those treasures for a long time. Think again about the good things inside, Yekong said secretly, what he needs will be obtained, don't be discouraged. When he stepped out of the backyard, he happened to meet Yanfu, and the old man said hello, wondering, and didn't see his aunt go out. Aunt Grandma is not an ordinary person, is that what I can guess? Yanfu muttered and walked away. Before Yekong returned to the quiet room, she just passed by with Yanshuai's cave and saw that she was not meditating, but was busy. Yekong didn't say much, glanced at him, went back to the quiet room to make some spells, and used it after leaving the iron painting realm. The next day, Yekong once again entered the Black Demon sect, and found that all the Yaodan he had hung out were sold out, but no other items were moving. Demon repairers have a great demand for Yaodan. Many demon repairers practice by absorbing the spiritual power of Yaodan, so Yekong's Yaodan is very popular. Not only was it bought out, but those buyers also leave a message. I'm XXXX. I'll collect all the monsters with wooden attributes. It would be better if there is a higher order. Purchasing a lot of properties Yaodan, please contact XXXX. Yekong smiled after reading this information. Naturally, he would not contact these people. The monsters were all killed in Kangbei, and now he has nowhere to kill. There are hundreds of demon dandelions, but these are all high-end or low-end, and they are not very valuable. When sold together, they are only over 1 million spirit stones. Okay, so rich, go shopping. Jindan pills. Wait and buy. Ordinary valuation is useless. You must have a Jindan for each attribute. It is best to have money to buy Jindan pills with single attributes. Otherwise, if you want to buy the full text of Hehuanzong and later take it to Kangnan, you will make a lot of money. But Yekong turned around again and found another thing, Wan Lichuanban. 1.2 million spirit stones. Two identical brands can send the same text message, even if they are far away, they can receive it, but it takes some time. This thing is not used in Kangnan, no matter how far away, you can use the note, the most advanced note is only 1,000 spirit stones. But it's different in Yunyeo. This place is isolated from one environment, and the note can't be transmitted at all. This requires something like Wanli's message board. Seeing this brand, Yekong bought it without thinking. After buying the brand, he went back to being poor and white again. But he didn't regret it. Every day there are opportunities to get rich. If he loses, he loses. It's no pity. However, this brand can be used for emergency purposes. If there is anything in Yanshuai's side in the future, he can rush back as soon as he types. Leaving the Black Demon sect, someone was visiting from outside. It turned out that it was Lin Jixing, Zheng Tianshun, and Xiao Chen drunk. Although they were rivals at the time, even Xiao Chen was drunk in his heart, but now they face Yekong, they can't hate it if they want to hate it. It's useless. The gap between them and Yekong is too far away. Be intimate, maybe Yekong can help them. Yekong, of course, is also very polite. People respect me 1 foot, I respect others, and people want to hurt me, and I will kill your family. Everyone saw Yekong's cultivation at this moment, respectfully met with the uncle's gift. Of course, Yekong also generously sent out a few of the best-in-class artifacts. After chatting for a long time, the 3 of them left. Yekong Chuo Zhengtian brought a jade invitation to Zi Yanlong. Nothing, just words of resignation, Yekong will soon leave, and he will not visit. As soon as the 3 men left, another visit came. It was Huang Guangsheng of Izumi Demon. Izumi was informed that Yekong was promoted to fake Dan as soon as he appeared, and he killed the quartet as soon as he appeared, and killed the real monk Jiden. So Huang Guangsheng hurriedly came, greeted me for a while, and presented a brand, which turned out to be a VIP card of the whole Yunyeo level. Yekong's VIP treatment was only available in the iron painting realm, but now, all the 8,000 realms in Yunyeo, Yekong can enjoy VIP treatment as long as there is a place in the city. This is very practical for Yekong. He will soon go out in the waves and clouds, and he will definitely go to many different realms. When he finds the Mozong in the market, all the information in this realm will be available. Of course, you have to pay for the spirit stone. Then I received thank you, Mr. Huang. Yekong accepted the sign. Huang Guangsheng laughed, Genren, you don't have to thank me. I don't want to tell you that I don't have the right to issue such a brand. I heard that it was licensed by this headquarters. Yekongki said, But I don't know anyone from other demons in the market except you. Huang Guangxian laughed. I don't know about it, but I'll take it for you. No. Huang Guangxian had just left, but he didn't expect to be here again. This time, the disciple of Huayan Mozong sent a letter to Huang Shishi. The meaning of Huang Shishi: don't leave when you leave tomorrow, let's meet at the transfer point, otherwise rumors will be spread. Yekong doesn't really matter. In the future, Taihua realm doesn't know if it will come or not. But Huang Shishi cares, she is the suzerain after all, and the point of transmission is to meet. Yekong was a little funny. He had been in Taihua Jing for a year and a half, and he hadn't been to the teleportation point. He didn't know where the teleportation point was. However, the last sentence in Huang Shishi's yokai made Yekong worry. She wants Yekong to decide where to go. Yekong hasn't been to other places except iron painting. The hole is a leopard. You let him decide where to go, which is equivalent to letting blind people lead the way. Most importantly, he has no situation map. The map of the realm is a map. The orientation of each realm, what route from this realm to that realm, there are several realms that need to pass through in the middle, what is the name of the realm, and how big is the area. Yekong has no realm map, and he doesn't even know where the next stop is. He had wanted to go to Devil in Black to contact Deng Lao. This old guy must be familiar. However, Yan Fenjiun said that his picture of the situation, although it is an old antique 200 years ago, is barely usable. After all, Daishanking does not happen every day, and every situation will not change much. Yekong got the map and looked back and forth. When he saw a sign in the center of the map, Yekong's eyes suddenly turned on. Okay. Just go here, he pressed his finger on it, and the sign was a jade pipa. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 735. Leaving Iron Painting Realm 735. On the third day, in the morning, Yekong handed the Wanli messaging card to Yan Shuai, saying goodbye to the couple Yan Fenjiun, and finally set off on the way to leave the Iron Painting Realm. When she went out, Yan Shuai blushed and wrapped a small paper in an empty hand. He whispered, I did it in the past 2 days and look at it when nobody is. Yekong pinched, feeling cloth or something, put it into the storage ring, nodded to Yan Shuai, strode out of the door of Yan's house. The teleportation point is northwest of Taihua Jing. Leave the main city and head northwest. After a while, you can see a crowded place. This is the teleportation point. This early morning, the teleportation point was so busy. After one day, I didn't know how many spirit stones to collect. No wonder the Iron Arm Demon and the Huayan Demon were vying to be the master of the state. The Yan family had originally sent a car to Yekanlei, but was rejected by Yekong. He doesn't want others to give each other, naturally he doesn't want people to see him go with Huang Shishi, and more importantly, he doesn't want to attract attention. Even so, when he came, he met an acquaintance. Since the last time he entered the competition, Chen Zanhu has come here to defend the lineup. The reason was that he colluded with others and changed the ranking of the competition privately. Although this had no effect on the results, he was sent here to defend the battle by Zi Yanlong. There is no time to practice in the defense, so the truly motivated monks are unwilling to come. However, Chen Zanhu didn't care. He lost a lot in the demon sect in the market and was able to get some oil and water here. But he hated Ye so much. Today he was dull on duty, and saw Yekong coming at a glance. Genius Ye, you are. Chen Zan greeted Hu with a smile, although he hated Yekong, but he was not here to cause trouble. Yekong doesn't like this person. If it is not inconvenient, he would have killed him. He snorted at once, I'm not a big genius. Chen Zan, who hurriedly changed his mouth, It's brother yet, huh, brother yet. Are you going out? Yeah, Yekong didn't want to tell him more, and then said, go ahead and I'll wait for a friend. Okay, Chen Zhanhu stopped and watched Yekong's figure disappear into the crowd. He immediately trot into a dead end of the slum. Huh, Yekong, sooner or later, I want you unlucky, Chen Zhanhu Leng snorted and took out a piece of communication jade charm from the storage bag. But at this moment, on the wall behind him, there was a flash of light and a woman's laughter. What's your name, Chen Zhanhu? My sister is lost. Although the sound was beautiful, but in the eyes of Chen Zhanhu, he was not stubborn in the thunderstorm. Looking back, I saw a charming woman in a draped skirt standing straight on the wall. Mr. Huang. Chen Zhan's nonsense has not yet been said. Huang Shishi stretched his arms and his palms facing each other, baby locks space. Chen Zhanhu was immediately isolated by a transparent space, and he shouted without any movement outside. The palms of Huang Shishi's hands were one again, the space tightened sharply, Chen Zhanhu died instantly, all the flesh and the Yuan Shen died in the space, and he would never escape. With a wave of Huang Shishi's hand, Chen Zhanhu's message Yafu immediately appeared in Huang Shishi's hand, and then a flash of light and shadow, the dead end returned to silence. Yekong is standing in front of the teleportation array at this moment. This teleportation array is basically similar to the short-range teleportation array developed by the Kangnan Corpse Yinzong. It is driven by a spirit stone. Whenever people stand up, they will see a white light shining and enveloping 10 people inside. When the white light subsided, everyone disappeared, and then the disciples of Iron Arm Demon called 10 people in the queue behind. Although it is the same as the teleportation array researched by the Dead Yin sect, it is also different. For example, everyone will bring a teleportation symbol. In fact, teleporters are not required for short-distance transmission, but this is transmitted in Kangming, but the land-to-land transmission is slightly different. Teleportation in Kangming is more likely to encounter space turbulence, and it is safer to carry teleporters. After a while, Yekong sounded a soft voice, Yo, who is this younger brother, do you want to go out to do business or go with relatives? Yekong laughed, his arms were bent, he held his stretched hands, and laughed, I'm running away with someone else's daughter. Ha 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 ha. At noon, on a double day, the second floor of a tavern near the transfer point. After leaving the iron painting realm, Huang Shishi also relaxed a lot. After all, there aren't too many people who know her across the realm. Yes, little brother, where do you want to run away with your slave's family? Huang Shishi laughed with a wine glass. Although Huang Shishi wore a commoner woman's raglan dress, she was not an ordinary woman. Yekong smiled bitterly, and didn't know if it was right or wrong to go with the woman. Yekong laughed, I came out of the iron painting realm with my eyes blinded, how can I know where to go? First, tell me, where do you want to experience mortal life? Huang Shishi laughed, I came out with you, of course I listened to you. You can go where you say, there is no complaint. After finishing the words of Zheng Bajing, do NT forget to add another sentence, little brother's person, oh. Flew a wink. Yekong was so funny, she didn't look like a serious person, but she was a virgin, she really made herself meet. Then I have nowhere to go, you have a suggestion? Yekong said again. Huang Shishi said, in fact, I wanted to go to the Peepa realm of the Shadow Clan. There is a large area with many mortals, and it is the best place to go. At that time, Chen 11 was also there to experience the life of mortals, so I wanted to go, it's a long way. When Yekong heard it, he laughed, it really happened, but I actually want to go to Peepa realm. Such a coincidence, Huang Shishi thought for a moment, didn't the boy agree with himself for himself? I was very happy immediately, but thinking about Yekong, I still said, in fact, you really do NT have to do this. I can experience mortal life wherever I go. This trip to Peepa is really far away and will delay your journey. Only then did Yekong come up with the picture of the realm. The Peeper realm had been marked on it, and the route from the iron painting realm to the Peeper realm had been marked. Huang Shishi knew that the two had indeed thought of one. Huang Shishi frowned and said, I go to Peeper realm because there are many people and mortals, which is more suitable for hidden people. Then why do you choose Peeper realm? Yekong laughed, I am the master of the Shadow clan. Huang Shishi said, I'm still the master of Yunyeo. Both of them laughed, and Huang Shishi couldn't believe that this little fellow who had built a great foundation was the master of the Shadow clan. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 736. 736 Cloud Traveling Caravan. Finally leaving Taihua realm, Yekong felt relieved for a while. The reason he feels this way is not that the Yan family is bad for him. The most important thing is that leaving iron painting means the first step on the way home. But soon, Yekong discovered a bad thing. Because the Peeper realm is too far away, going there is really not a day or two. Yekong started thinking this way. Aren't there teleporters? When you get out of one, you will enter the next teleportation array. This way you can continue to teleport, keep going in and out, and you will soon reach the Peeper realm. Huang Shishi immediately dispelled his dream and said, do you think that all the outbound teleportation formations are built with the receiving teleportation formation? It is not the case. In many situations, the outbound transmission formation and the reception transmission formation are far away, and you have arrived there is a long way to go before reaching the next teleportation array. Yekong was depressed. Why is this so? Why not build it together? How inconvenient. Huang Shishi said, it's not because of the benefits. In some large areas, there will be several good demons inside. No one can defeat them. Finally, they will send outbound and inbound transmission to them, and they think they are not suitable. They were destroyed by the teleportation array. It's abominable. Isn't this to make people walk more out of thin air? Yekong cursed, feeling wrong, and asked, you said you were divided, and the one who is assigned to the outbound transport array can receive the transmission fee, and that management receives teleporters. Who do they collect money from? Huang Shishi laughed, they can collect tolls. If you want to go to the next transmission point, naturally you have to pass from their ground, then you can collect tolls in layers, and earn no less than the toll. Yekong couldn't help but sigh, every one of her mother got into the eyes of money. Huang Shishi giggled, and said, it's more than that. Look at the realms. Some of them have a bad relationship. They don't communicate with each other. They deliberately deleted that place in the teleportation array, so the two realms are very close. But have to bypass other realms, which increases the journey. I did not expect a teleportation team to say so much, Yekong sighed, thanks to come out with this old river and lake, otherwise, I don't know how many wrongdoings I have to take. That's worth saying. Huang Shishi smiled proudly, and said, you're really a tender seedling, you know, if I didn't deal with Chenzanhu for you, your whereabouts would be grasped by others. Yekong smiled, learning her voice and saying, why are you Chenzanhu? My sister is lost. Huang Shishi froze. This is what she said when she killed Chenzanhu. I didn't feel anyone at the scene. How did this boy know? However, it is certain that the boy is also staring at Chenzanhu. If he does not take the shot, the boy will take the shot himself. Huang Shishi took a few steps quickly, hung Yekong's arms, and laughed, I can't think you are not a tender bird, but you are also an old river and lake. This sister is even more relieved. The dual-day transit team was close together. Yekong and Huang Shishi came out of the restaurant and walked back to the transfer point. However, a group of people near the outbound transport team caught Yekong's attention. There are a few big cars parked here, each with a flag on it, with the two words Cloud Swim on it, which is very eye-catching. And beside the car, there was a circle of monks. Huang Shishi frowned. Yunye Mozong is a famous caravan of Yunyeo, second only to the Shadow clan firm. What are they doing? Yakong glanced at it and immediately guessed. I wanted to return to Angwo from Wu State, and those boaters Hua Lingshi hired monks to the ship. Obviously, those who travel in the Mozong are also hiring monks to increase their strength to prevent accidents on the road. In fact, Yunye Mozong generally does not have the tradition of temporarily hiring other sectarian monks. This time, I suddenly heard that a group of robbers appeared on the road they had to go through, and the strength was quite strong, so they had to hire again. Some strong monks. It's hard to hire someone these days. The two monks who traveled around Mozong stopped here for a while, but only hired 2 monks. It is not that there are not many monks. The key is that they only employ more than Dandan, and they have to follow the road. After all, they have not produced too many spiritual stones. No one will accompany them on a trip. Where to go? Wanjianjing? Not along the way. Another monk Jadan fisted away. Chiu Chu of Yunye Mozong also arched his hands and yelled, Yunye Mozong invited masters above Dan to go to Wanjian realm. Everyone will come soon. This road is not smooth, everyone takes care of each other, and there is Lingshi Feng up, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. There are 2 monks next to them, all ancestors of Jadan. They are 2 monks employed by Yunye Mozong. They looked at Chu Chu before leaving, urging, go away, maybe go to the next stop, maybe you can still get some good hands. There are too few masters in this realm, and they look at her mother to build a real person at a glance. Although Chu Chu didn't catch cold with these 2 people, they waited for a long time to get on the 2 people. If they offended and left, they would drink for a while. He busily laughed, the 2 Taoist friends of Swaden Mozong don't worry, sharpen the knife without chopping woodworkers, and find enough people to get on the road soon. We travel around Mozong on the way, it's quite familiar, only fast or slow. Blood Dan Mozong snorted, hurry up, we don't care about the hundreds of spirit stones you gave. Chu Chu laughed, of course, your Blood Tan magic sect is so expensive, it's always rich. The Blood Dan Mozong stood proud of each other. Being bored, one of them pointed in the middle and said, that woman is nice. At another look, he also said, yeah, I like this kind of eyebrow spring love, the milk is big, so good. She came over. They are talking about Huang Shishi. Because to experience mortal life, Huang Shishi has completely suppressed himself and looks no different from mortal, so these 2 people dare to comment freely. Yakong walked over with Huang Shishi, bowed his hand and said, this Taoist, Xiao Xiu Yakong, this is my inner poem, we want to go to Wanjian with you. Yedaiu, you are visiting Mozong Kyochu under the clouds, this is my teacher Zhongyun's. Chu Chu gave a brief introduction, but frowned. What they wanted to do was to repair above Dandan. Yakong's fake Dan realm, although unqualified, was barely able. The point is that this mortal woman, are they unwilling to bring burdens, really meet a robber, do you have to arrange someone to protect her? Yakong knew his thoughts and hurriedly said, 2 friends, I am not a drag on everyone, and we don't want a spiritual stone, just arrange a car. The 2 blood slayer monsters over there also came to persuade, yeah, I can take them with them, and the journey is tiring. A woman is much better, haha, even if you look at it, you feel refreshed. Everyone agreed, and Chu Chu nodded and agreed to arrange a car for Yakong. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Jian. Chapter 737. Dig in front of the wall. After entering the car, Huang Shishi snorted immediately, sitting on a pu mat. Jiao Didi said, so tired, my legs are sore. Yakong laughed, don't pretend, a Yuanjun who is a great consummate, what is the way to go? Huang Shishi giggled, just be smart, let me pretend. I want to experience mortal life, and tired is the first. Yekong nodded. You are really right. Being immortal is the most important thing. You are tired and physically tired. Just feel more about you. Huang Shishi kicked off the pink embroidered shoes, stretched her legs over, and stared at Yekong with a pair of eyes, pouting, I don't care, I'm mortal anyway, my legs are sore, you give I pinch. Yekong certainly wouldn't refuse, sitting cross-legged and resting a pair of feet on his leg. The two people were originally interesting to each other. In this small space, emotions are more likely to heat up. Seeing the fierce fire, the thunder raged on fire. I heard someone say, Yedayu, the blood Dan Mozong came to visit. His ancestors were stingy, bad things for good. Someone was angry. Huang Shishi giggled, quickly retracted her legs, pulled down her trousers, and sat at the corner of the window. Shui Dan Mozong Hejiawai, Sudao Tao, specially came to visit Yedayu. The two men did not come down when they saw them getting on the bus, only to take the initiative to attack. Oh, two seniors, Yekong is under repair. Blood Dan Mozong looked at each other and both despised the dissolution. Hejiawai laughed, Yedayu's casual training can reach the realm of pseudo-dandelion, which is not easy. Hejiawai's words clearly promoted and derogated, admired on the surface, in fact implying that Yekong was just a briefing. That Sudao Tao immediately laughed, Yedayu might as well join my Blood Dan Demon section. Perhaps Daoyu has not heard of the name of this sect, but anyway, this blood sect is well known in the world, and its effect is numerous times more than other elixir. The price is also surprisingly expensive. It is hard to find in the market. Joining this sect, Lingxi is rolling in. With high-quality elixir, repair is even faster. Yekuang had seen the elixir produced by the Blood Dan Mozong in the Black Devil, and it was really very expensive. He didn't know whether the two came here to agree, so he nodded and smiled. Thank you for your kindness, but you're used to being idle. Then Hejiawai suddenly said righteously, Yedayu said this is bad, even if you are idle, but your lady can't get the opportunity to cultivate. After 100 years, it turns into a pile of loess. I can't wait for your lady to join us. We must regard it as family members, never worry Yedayu. Yeah, yes. Sudao Tao looked at Huang Shishi's overlapping white feet, and his mouth was dry. When they said this, Yekong immediately understood that they dared to pry at the corners of the boys. He sneered, I don't have a spiritual root, can Gazong accept it? Besides, it's not the two who can take charge of the disciples. Hejiawai immediately became embarrassed and laughed, there is no spiritual root sect can find a way for her to have spiritual roots. Although Sudao Tao and I have no right to take over, she can go to the sect first to do miscellaneous work. Disciples' opportunity. Sudao Tao simply didn't ask Yekong, and directly asked Huang Shishi, little lady, I don't know what you want, join my sect, and you can practice ascension and enjoy longevity in the future. Huang Shishi's style is only to Yekong, to these two people, of course, there is no good feeling, and he reprimanded, go. More words, my husband will take your life. Sudao Tao was annoyed, you stupid woman, why don't you know how to do it? We Blood Danzong don't know how many people want to enter the door every year. Your husband is just a fake Dan real person, and we are serious Dan ancestors, don't know who takes his life. Yekong sighed coldly, opened his mouth, and spit out a flying sword, waiting for Sudao Tao to respond. A silver flying sword was already on his neck. Who takes his life? Yekong asked coldly. Magic weapon. Hejiawai suddenly hesitated. He didn't expect that the real person who didn't have Dan had magic weapon, and knew that he had kicked it to the iron plate. Yedayu, don't be impulsive, my brother-in-law is also kind. Since you don't want to, then forget it, Hejiawai hurriedly apologized. If you have the next time, you will take your life. Yekong opened his mouth and retracted the flying sword. Hejiawai and Sudao Tao lay down in the car. Su Dao Tao wanted to compete with Ye Kong, but He Jiawai was hurried into the car. "Brother, what are you anxious to pull me away? I don't believe it, the two of us can't beat him," Su Dao Tao angered. He Jiawai made the next ban. Then he said, "A fake person can spit magic weapon, can it be a normal monk, and that magic weapon is a powerful thing at first sight, we have to be careful." Su Dao Tao was exasperated. "No matter how bad it is, monk fake Dan, can we not beat him?" He Jiawai said, "Of course, we hit the ground, but for the sake of stability, we still have to be careful, don't cause the doubts of those who travel in the Mozong, you can't be too small." Su Dao Tao nodded, "Forget it, don't care about them for the time being, wait till the end of the land, hey, I must kill the little lady, and then make that surname Ye into a blood Dan." He Jiawai also laughed, "I think so too, to say that the little lady is really energetic. I have never seen such a seductive woman, and her little feet are so white. Haha, it will be ours by then." In the back of the car, Ye Kong and Huang Shishi were disturbed by them and had no interest. Ye Kong asked, "The blood elixir is really expensive, and I don't know why it is so expensive." Huang Shishi said, "Of course, there is an expensive truth. Legend has it that the elixir produced by the blood Dan Mozong, whether it is Zujidan or Jindan pill, has 3 times the efficacy of ordinary elixir. Elixir, so even if he is expensive, there is still a shortage of supply." "Oh, yes." Yekongdao said that this blood dange demon was really powerful, even if the effect of Kangnan Lingyao Mountain would not be so strong. Huang Shishi laughed, "Why, you also want to join the blood Dan demon?" Ye Kong laughed, "I don't want to go into the blood Dan demon sect, but if they can get their experience of alchemy, then it is best." Huang Shishi asked, "Would you arrest them and perform the soul search?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 738. 7 or 8 carved rice bucket. Ye Kong shook his head. Let's take a look again. Presumably, the method of refining Swaden Mozong Swaden is not something that 2 ancestors can know, if only there is a big boss. Huang Shishi satired deliberately, if you kill someone beyond the ranks, you will kill the old ancestors of Jidan. If you come to be the leader, then it is Yuan Ying Zhenjun. I am afraid that you are not your opponent. By then, we'll help you." Ye Kong laughed, "What do I want you to do? You still have a good life as a mortal." Ye Kong finished speaking, the figure flashed, and suddenly disappeared out of thin air. "Teleport? No, it's a space weapon only." Huang Shishi was left in the compartment wondering. Peepazu space, green pastures, clear lakes, clear breeze, white clouds on the blue sky. More than a dozen women lay lying on the grass, squinting their eyes, looking weakly at the sky. "Master, I heard that the world outside Yunyeo is like this, the blue sky, the white clouds," said a disciple weakly. Zhu Lingfei was hungry, and she looked up at the sky and said, "This is not the outside world, it's that little bastard's space. There are also stars, moons, and suns in the legend, there aren't any here." Another disciple said, "Master, how do I see buns flying in the sky?" Another disciple scolded, "Don't say it, the more you say I'm hungry, forget it, I'll drink the lake again." Zhu Lingfei watched the disciples become like this, and the hatred in his heart rose sharply. He raised his mouth and raised his head and cursed, "Little hybrid of the last name Ye, come out. You have the ability to come and kill us. You coward." "Oh. I've been a bit busy recently. Haven't you been here for a few days? Are you happy in your place of life?" Suddenly a voice that made Zhu Lingfei hate to the extreme appeared. Ye Kong hadn't realized that he had forgotten to give them food. His figure appeared by the lake. Looking at the women who were crooked, he was still thinking, Why do they all look like this? A few days ago, weren't they arrogant? Yekang dog thief, Zhu Lingfei roared and rushed over. But she was just a mortal at this time, and Yekang kicked her into the pond. I want to sneak attack on master. Just kicked Zhu Lingfei. All the 14 female disciples over there stood up, one by one with eyes shining, watching someone directly, and slowly surrounded by Yekang. Although they were all mortals, their eyes were still terrible. Ye had all been looked at with dim imagination. Why? What do you want to do? Yekang could not help but take a step back. Unexpectedly, they suddenly fell on their knees. Brother, give a ho. Yekang felt as if he was hungry. But think about it, these women are arrogant, and they look down on mortals and let them taste the hardships of mortals. A hungry can make them understand that, in fact, any power or benefit is a cloud, and it is not worth a gimmick. Are you hungry? The women nodded. Then how do you feel and feel? The female disciples looked at each other. Hungry is hungry, and feeling and experience. I have it, said a female disciple. Hungry, that is, weakness in the stomach, weakness in the whole body, straight waist and cooing in the stomach. Another female disciple added, still farting. What a mess. I am asking. Do you have any feelings about your previous thoughts and actions in these past few days? Have you got remorse? Yes, yes, the women nodded. At this point Zhu Lingfei had crawled out of the pond, and she was furious. You all get up. How can you kneel with this evil thief? You useless things. Zhu Lingfei's posture is very good, but she is too fierce. Most people dare not look at her, so Yekang didn't notice it. Although Zhu Lingfei had become immortal, but Yu Wei was still there, she shouted, and several female disciples stood up in fright. Seeing that someone was afraid of her, Zhu Lingfei was very proud and stood in front of the female disciple, and said, evil thief, don't want to use any to insult us at will. Yekang sighed, Zhu Lingfei, it seems that you are not hungry enough, you female robber, it is you who insults others. Yekang said again, I will prepare food. Each of you will write a review for me, at least 800 words. The number of words is not enough to eat, and the word is not deep enough. You dream. We don't write. Zhu Lingfei walked in front of Yekang. Why had she ever suffered such a crime? She had already waived it. However, she soon discovered that someone's vision was wrong, and she looked down along Yekang's vision. Evil thief. What are you looking at? Zhu Lingfei quickly blocked with both hands. If you want to eat steamed buns, you must write a review, at least 1,500 words. Yekang smiled and disappeared into the pipa beads. Later, Yunyu Mozong Chiu Chu and others saw a spectacle. Every time he passed a restaurant, Yekang would buy a pot of steamed buns and get on the car. Chiu Chu said to Zhang Yuns, Master, Ye Daiyu can really eat. Zhang Yuns shook his head and said, Ye Daiyu is already a false Dan realm, and he has already established a valley. Chu Chu suddenly realized, that's his maiden. Chu Chu could not help but shake his head and sigh, every family has a hard to read scripture, I didn't expect such a beautiful little girl to be so delicious. Zhang Yuns also sighed, yeah, the carved rice bucket. Although Huang Shishi didn't hear these words that made her vomit blood, she still thought that others would think she was so edible, so she was not upset. Yekang said to her, it's okay. You eat long buns and long buns. The more you eat, the bigger you eat. The female disciples in Pipazu finally failed to resist the hoe, and the inspections were extremely deep. Yekang had not thought about them, they all thought about it. However, Zhu Lingfei was still uncooperative. Not only that, but even when the female disciples were eating buns, she snatched them and threw them in the pond. Zhu Lingfei. You jerk, Yekang finally couldn't bear it. If he hadn't watched her practice after yuanying, she wouldn't have saved her, and she would have to be killed if she was rescued. Yekong rushed to the ground, pressed her to the ground, snatched her hoe, then raised her head and shouted at the female disciples, I do nt tell you, I'm no longer in Taihua realm, now I'm in Shazhu realm, go the former is the deserted Gobi desert. There will be no place to buy steamed buns. If you let others grab steamed buns, you will be hungry. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 739. Conquer Zhu Lingfei. The female disciples grasped the hose in their hands. But Zhu Lingfei was struggling hard, while Yekong was talking, he actually took a bite on his arm. Your ancestor. It seems that I am still too kind this time, this is what you asked for. Yekong roared, tearing the collar of Zhu Lingfei's robe, and a dazzling white appeared. The breathing of the two was getting weaker and weaker. When they were completely calm, Zhu Lingfei finally spoke, something Yekong did not expect. Zhu Lingfei said, okay, I'm too tired. Go get a hoe. But after a brief silence, Yekong also said something that Lingfei hadn't expected. Yekong said, what I said is the same. I want to eat steamed buns and write a review first. You bastard, Zhu Ling was so angry that he was hungry for 6 days and was taken by him again. How intensely can I write a review? A well-known female writer once said that the way to a woman's mind is the X way. Perhaps it makes sense, after all, after the relationship with Yekong, Zhu Lingfei became honest very quickly. While Yekong was getting dressed, she suddenly said, I do nt want to scratch my head, you reply to my cultivation, rest assured, I know my identity, if you need me, just call me, I am your slave, I will not resist, I will hand over my destiny picture, but please treat my disciples kindly. They went to Yan's house, but they accepted my order and had nothing to do with them. Yekong didn't expect her to change so fast. He stared at Zhu Lingfei for a while, looked at it for a while, and suddenly said, do you know? In my hometown, there are no slaves, although there are nobleness and lowness, but the humblest person also enjoys the most basic freedom, so, I do nt want to be a slave to others, and I do nt like others to be my slaves. The reason why I treat you this way is completely yours, one day, I can surpass you, and I will give you freedom. Then, if you want to kill me, then I will not be polite to you. At that time, if you are willing to follow me, I will not let you are disappointed, but if you want to stay, you have to change your temper of fighting for power. After Yekong finished speaking, he raised his hand and replied to Zhu Lingfei's Ziwei, and at the same time, those female disciples also replied. In this way, Yekong also saved steamed buns 3 times a day. In the next 2 days, Zhu Lingfei made a lot of good behaviors. When Yekong was feverishly heated by Huang Shishi, he would enter Pipazu and Zhu Lingfei. Huang Shishi was very curious about his space implements, but she was also reluctant to go in to face Zhu Lingfei, so she did not go in. Of course, she would not know why someone was refreshed every time she came out. Yekong also remembered the small bag that Yan Shuai sent him, opened it, and it turned out to be a few hand-stitched small trousers, which just happened to be replaced. In fact, Yekong didn't speak. At this moment, they did enter the sandbar mirror. Here is a vast sandbar. It is very desolate and remote. Chiu Chu is also nervous because it is said that those bandits who suddenly appeared are active in this area Shazhuli. Along the way, they received a total of 5 monk-bearing monks. In addition to He Jiawai and Sudao Tao of the Blood Dan Mozong, there were 3 monk-bearing monks. 2 of them are couples, both of whom are casual practitioners. The other is called Zhao Waoqi, who claims to be from everyone's demon sect, and is a middle-aged man with a zombie face. Sister Shishi, isn't it strange that these traveling mozongs are streaked? Why not use storage bracelets or rings to load things, but pull them with a cart? Yekong pressed Huang Shishi's slippery calf while pressing asked. You don't know that, said Huang Shishi. No matter how big a storage ring is, It can't hold many items, and because storage rings are expensive, it's impossible for everyone to wear 10 rings, it's different. These carts are all space weapons, they are cheap, and they have a lot of stuff. Oh, that's it. Yekong nodded. After all, the 36 layers of storage rings on his hands were not affordable for everyone. Huang Shishi said, and traveling around the banner under the banner, this is originally the rules of Yunzhang Mozong, but also their cultivation method, so even if there is no cargo, they have to rush the cart to run around the world. It's quite strange. How could there be such a rule? Is it because they are practicing horsemanship? They are born to catch horses. Huang Shishi said, Yunyao's 8,000 realms, there are too many strange demon sects, and those cultivation methods are also strange. Yunyu Dizong is not special. I have heard of one called Do Yanda section women. The way they cultivate is to go to the Qinglu as a prostitute, experience various men, and practice in this way. It's really sad enough to be a chick, and Yekong couldn't help but sigh. These messy demons were in Kangnan's mind. Huang Shishi said, the zombie has a surname of White. You have to be careful. I haven't heard of anyone who is a monster. Yekong nodded. The first time I saw him, I felt very evil. The face seemed normal, but the expression was always slow. It was very uncomfortable. There was a sudden noise outside as they spoke. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Jian Yi. Chapter 740. 7 or 40 Witches. The people who were already nervous immediately became nervous. Everyone got out of the car and found that they were blocked by more than a dozen male monks, who looked like dogs and looked like robbers. A leading monk said, "Excuse me, below is the monk Xianxia, the monk of the Maiden's Demon, this time coming out to our lord, the great king of the great king Lei Wei, to find the furnace tripod. You must be nervous, my lord of the demon will never. Robbing a woman is voluntary." Listening to Xianxia said something again. The original Emperor Lei Wei, the lord of the Maiden Demon Prince, came up with a set of peculiar exercises in order to ascend early, and the name of the maiden was 3,000 Days of Ascension. It is to have fun with 3,000 female nuns at the same time, and then maximize the mana to achieve ascension. However, the cultivation requires that the 3,000 female nuns must be all voluntary and cannot be forced, so the maiden devil will not arrest people in any way, but only asks for the benefits of all the female nuns that are encountered, and let the female nuns decide for themselves. Doing that kind of thing with 3,000 women at the same time, is that Emperor King Lei Wei full of body? Yekong looked stunned. Huang Shishi couldn't help giggling and whispered, "Dirty." Their movement immediately caught Xianxia's attention, but when he saw Huang Shishi was just a mortal who was not cultivated, he immediately disappointed and looked back. Then the attention of Xianxia and other monks of the Devil's Demon centered on the sister Naidan, who was on the same road as Yekong. Xianxia said, "This Taoist, it is of great benefit to be our prince of the great Lord Lei Wei. Regardless of the method you are practicing, you can break through a great realm afterwards, and since then, enshrined by my maiden's demon, the most important thing is that Qing Lei Wei Weihun is studying how to take all the 3,000 female nuns when they are soaring. That is to say, it is very possible to accompany Qing Lei Wei Weihun soaring, wish or not, think for yourself." The Manchu suddenly became furious. "Go. Pry me in the corner, you dream. My companion she will never." Yekong can appreciate the anger of the male Xiu. Before that, he Jia Y and others also wanted to pry him in the corner. He wanted to kill. Although the imperial concubine said not to be forced, such face-to-face interrogation and seduce would have been an insult. But to everyone's surprise, the nun went to Xianxia and said, "What are you saying true? If it is true, then I am willing." Xianxia said busily, "If there is a half-hearted word just now, I am willing to be punished by the thunderstorm and eternal reincarnation." The female Xiu nodded. "I'll follow you." All this was a little sudden. The male stunned and waited for them to return to God. He hurried up and pulled the nun. Xiaoxue, are you fascinated by Yuan Shen? What are you doing and where am I? No, you can say. The female nun turned back. Five brother, I'm not fascinated with Yuan Shen. Now I know exactly what I'm doing, I'm already in the middle of Jidan. I haven't entered for 200 years, and go on like this. Sooner or later, this will be a chance. I must seize it. The male Xiu begged, give me some more time, I can definitely find a way to break through. I won't let you wait to sit down, we still have time. But the nun's mind was determined, and she shook her head. Five brother, don't deceive yourself, even if you follow us for 200 years, you will not have the opportunity to improve. Men are so anxious that they cry, begging women again and again. The female nun said, Five brother, I'm sorry, I have been with you for 300 years. I am very happy. I thank you for taking me on this path of cultivating immortals. The female Xiu gave the male Xiu and knelt down 3 heads, and said, but I am a monk, I want to break through, I want to ascend, I don't wait for death. When you teach me to practice immortal, all this is doomed, take care. After the nuns talked, they followed the people of the devil's demon. I did not expect to see this scene, everyone's mood is not good. Everyone patted the man, and they didn't know how to comfort him. They were thinking again, maybe the choice of the nun was right, and if they could reject the temptation? Back in the carriage, Yekong wanted to ask Huang Shishi, if you were, what would you do? But after thinking about it, I was afraid to ask for an answer I didn't want to hear. Unexpectedly, Huang Shishi proactively said to himself, wow, the sky is soaring, don't say that she is a monk who is also a dandan, even my true infant Yuanjun is tempted. Ecchi said, why didn't you go with that woman just now? Huang Shishi looked at him, giggled, and said, I'm not afraid that someone will cry like that male. Rest assured, Yamao never cries for a ruthless and unreasonable woman. Yekong snorted. Huang Shishi despised, cut, I mean, you are already anxious. I'm not in a hurry. It's not important. What's important is your plan for ascension. Wow, the maiden 3000 soars day by day. His ancestors, daydream. Huang Shishi giggled and said, although soaring is important, I think someone's mood is more important. Yekong heard his heart warm and asked softly, you can really not even soar because of my mood? Maybe the ground was too far, maybe the question was too direct. Huang Shishi blushed, and she was embarrassed. You dead man, why do you ask that directly? Huang Shishi was furious and pushed Yekong. But he did not push away, but was pressed by Yair on the floor. Yekong asked softly again, is it right? I will answer directly. Sometimes confession is harder to say than indecent words. Huang Shishi shyly looked at him and blushed. I don't want you to feel bad anyway. As long as you are happy, it doesn't matter if your sister doesn't take off. What could be more touching than her words? What could be more expressive than his kiss? In another car, He Jia and Sudao Tao of Sweden Mozong smiled at each other. These days they disguise themselves very well. Everyone thinks they are pretty good. No one knows that they are traitors. However, they are savvy enough. Even behind people, they are very careful to speak, so even if someone monitors with divine knowledge, they will not doubt them. Sudao Tao picked up the curtains and looked out the window. At this moment, night had fallen, the dark red sky, the black desert, the boundlessness of the top and bottom, the place where the two met was dim and could not be seen clearly. He turned back and said, it's almost there. He Jia nodded with a smile, then took out a piece of messaging jade charm from the storage bag. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 741. Surrounded by 74. When he sent a signal, he nodded and smiled at Sudao Tao, and then both of them tacitly looked into the car behind. Both were thinking that their own people would definitely play on the road ahead, and then, as usual, easily catch these guys. At that time, you must press the woman in the car behind you, a mortal woman with arrogance, a coquettish but very virtuous woman. Even if you read the countless female Xianxia and others, you can't help drooling already. However, their abacus is not so easy to succeed. How could the Mozong Yunyu walk around the pier all year round? When the team came to the outside of the formation, a leading spirit horse suddenly stopped and raised his head and hissed. Unexpectedly, these carts and horses are all spiritual. They are much more sensitive to the change of aura than humans. They even discovered the formation in advance and issued an alarm. As soon as the leading spirit horse stopped, all the other spirit horses stopped their hoofs uniformly, and the dust splashed. Qiu Chu and Zhang Yuans, who traveled around Mozong, jumped out of the car. The black desert was boundless, and in the middle of the desert, a row of convoys stopped quietly. From the height of the sky, it seemed like several ants on a huge ancient painting. "Brother, should we detour?" Zhang Yuans whispered. Chu Chu looked at the cart behind him, and hummed coldly, "Set up a matrix on the way we must pass, this is obviously coming for us, it won't last for a while. I am a little Xiao, can you bully?" After Chu Chu said, with a wave of his hand, a large banner stood in front of him. The banner was several feet high, soaring into the sky, and imposing. The banner was black on the bottom of Phnom Penh. "I don't know which Taoist friend in front of you, Yunchu Mozon Kyochu and Zhang Yuns are polite. Kyochu is the report number." However, people did not give face, and suddenly appeared on the desolate desert around the convoy. Chu Chu looked up, and saw that the other party had dozens of ancestors of Dandan, and nearly 100 real people. The team formed a round of defense. Chu Chu felt that the other party was not good and immediately ordered the formation. The disciples of Yunyuzone were busy sipping on the lingma, and surrounded several carts in a circle, while those who built the base disciples all took out the magic instruments and stood out vigilantly. Ye Kong asked, "Are you out or just here?" Huang Shishi waved his hand, "In such a small scene, don't let my sister go out. As a male pet, you have the responsibility to protect me." Ye Kong fainted, then kissed him, and Lao Tzu became a man's pet. Ye Kong also left a word of Nyucha Bake, "Relax, I will be responsible for you." "Che, I'm almost responsible for you," Huang Shishi retorted, but she was very happy. When Ye Kong went out, Hijia, Sudao Tao, the broken male mate, and the zombie face Zhao Waoqi had all come out, and they were all standing behind Qiu Chu, posing like enemies. Ye Kong didn't pass, standing still from a distance. At this time, a late monk came out of those robbers, and he seemed to be leading. He walked out of the crowd and laughed, "Wandering Mozong, a big name, but we can't scare us as casual repairers. Hey, it's you guys." Qiu Chu snorted coldly, "Sangziu. You are really joking. 18 knots and 55 foundations, I have not heard that there are so many scattered monks all of a sudden. Sanshao repairs are all on their own, and everyone occasionally gathers together on a small scale. As before, it is obvious that some Mozong came out to do unsightly things under the banner of Sanshao." The ancestor of the late Jadan really had a sluggish speech and replied, "That's because you are so rare. I don't want to care about you as the demon." Chu Chu said again, "Everyone is all mixed, I will go often in the future. So, all of my cars are from King Tianjing. Fine spirits, I leave you a cart, and make friends. The price of Chiuchikai is very high. The King Tianjing pasture is fertile, rich in various livestock, and the sole and meat produced are extremely delicious and valuable, leaving a whole cart, that is more than 100,000 spirit stones. Qiu Chu is also helpless. The opponent's strength is too strong. The most important thing is that more than a dozen ancestors of Dandan are probably still standing with Yuan Ying Jinjun. However, the other party apparently didn't pay attention to this, and Chu Chu said, all the robbers left. The leading robber left, a car of spiritual flesh? You are really those gangsters? Tell you, we are not short of money. Robbers are not short of money. The question is grand. No money, that's terrible. Chu Chu said, I will have no grudges against you. The robber interrupted, yes. But we want your blood, your meat. I am not talking about the meat in the car, I am talking about the meat on your body. At this point, it is obvious that the other party is really terrible. Chu Chu Leng hummed, Deo friends, I don't think you have figured out one thing yet, that is why I traveled with Mozong in Yunyeo for a long time without any problems. That's because we robbed our sect, I will soon be retaliated by my torrential storms. You may wish to go back and ask your elders, and if you are clear, you decide to rob it this time. The leader robber immediately walked out to a person roared, I have all the princes of this sect, I am afraid of you grooms. Come on. Stupid, the leading robbers screamed angrily, and the robbers who came out had already let out that they were not casual repairers. Chu Chu scorned and said with one finger, this sect has a presence above God, and you should consider it. A flash of panic flashed in the eyes of the lead robber, but he was replaced by a vicious one. Seriously, I was scared by you, but, that being the case, I can't let you go, the lead robber waved, kill all, leave no one. It was NT the robbers that started, but the two behind Chu Chu, who were He Jia Y and Sudao Tao of the Blood Dan Demon. One of them attacked Chu Chu, the leader of the Yun Demon sect, and the other attacked everyone. Zhao Waoqi's zombie face. To them, these two men are the most threatening people here. But Chu Chu had been prepared for a while, his body flickered, and he easily escaped. The other attack Sudao Tao failed. Kang, Sudao Tao's magic weapon struck Zhao Wuji's body, and it seemed as if he struck the object of gold and iron, and it bounced back. He Jia missed a shot and fled to the opposite side, but Sudao Tao's luck was not so good. Where Zhao Waoqi's back was hit, there was a vertebral-shaped instrument that was drilled from the flesh and shot directly at Sudao Tao. Sudao Tao conspired against others, and wherever he thought of being conspired by others, he had no time to defend, and Faishi made a big hole in his body. I'm dead, Sudao Tao exclaimed, a golden Jindan emerged from a hole in his body and fled towards the rear. Someone looked just right and sneered, you dig the corner of Lao Tzu, and Lao Tzu cut you Jindan. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Jian Yi. Chapter 742. 742 Thunder Prison. As soon as Yekong raised his hand, the sword light turned into a thin line, and it was cut out silently. Sudao Tao's Jindan was split into two halves at once, and the liquefied spiritual power in Jindan disappeared instantly in the air. Brother Su, He Jia exclaimed, looked at the people on the opposite side, gritted his teeth and said, Chu Chu, Zhao Wuji, Yekong, you are waiting to be smelted into blood Dan. It really is you, Chu Chu said angrily, unexpectedly, it was Yunyeo's famous Blood Dan demon who did such a mean thing. The leading robber laughed and laughed, of course it is our Blood Dan demon. Do you think the Blood Dan that is sold at a large price outside is easy to come? Tell you, the so-called Blood Dan is made from the blood of monks. How effective can it be? Well, you guys are waiting to become elixir one by one. After he said it, he shouted, Masters, come on. These monks who make Dan are good materials for making Zai Bloody Baby Dan. The Zai Blood Baby's Dan is the exclusive medicine of the Blood Dan Mozong. After eating it, even if the qualification is poor, it can greatly increase the hope of baby building. This is also the main reason that the monk of the Blood Dan Mozong took the risk of killing monk. These more than a dozen monks are all normal and hopeless. When they saw a few monks in the field, Their eyes turned red as the wolf saw the flesh. They spit out magic weapons and rushed up to catch them. And here, the first man who rushed out turned out to be a male brother called Wu Brother. This guy was also good at cultivating magic weapons and throwing out 2 magic instruments. One person stood against 3, and his mouth was still roaring. I want you to take Xianxia away. I fight with you. The 3 blood Dan Mozong somehow said, who is Xianxia? Whatever it is, kill him to take the flesh. Yekongzhong is somewhat fortunate. Fortunately, he did not spend a lot of money to buy Jindan pill of blood Dan Mozong. It turned out to be human flesh. This is not a concept with eating human flesh. If you eat it yourself, I am afraid you will vomit now. 3 days. In fact, the theory of Swaden Mozong is also very reasonable. The monk's body has been tempered by aura, and it has already been a good treasure. The refined elixir will certainly have an excellent effect. However, it is specifically used to kill people for alchemy, even if it is among the demon reparers, which is unacceptable to other factions. Therefore, Swaden Mozong has always been engaged carefully, but this time, he was smashed by Yunyu Mozong. The monks on both sides, while trying to take the other's physical body to practice the Zai bloody baby Dan, and wanted to break through to survive, fierce fighting began. Not only were the ancestors of Dan, the real people of Zuji also fought together, and Yekong, who was a false Dan period, was surrounded by several real people of Zuji. This guy killed Uncle Su, we kill him for revenge. Several real people in Zuji threw out the instruments in their hands, flying swords, balls, ropes, and a mess of instruments. It's all rubbish, and how rich is the bragging blood demon sect. Yekong snorted and threw out a long, square brick-shaped artifact, which was the gift that the sect had given him at the beginning. Golden slabs. This was actually made by Yuan Ying, the master of the refiner zone, and the power was naturally overbearing. After flying, it was divided into several pieces, each of which shot out thousands of golden lights, facing the flying sword and ball ropes. Although everyone is a real person who builds a base, Yekong surpasses each other too much in both spiritual power and magic weapon, so with such a big brick, someone has carried 5 real people who build a base. In this way, he was very relaxed. Huang Shishi was sitting in the carriage, looking outside, with beautiful eyes in his eyes, thinking to himself, what is the origin of this boy, why is he so fierce? And everything is fierce. Fighting, bragging, singing a sing-song, talking about ridiculousness, making a woman, it seems that he wouldn't have no other than having a child. If Yekong knows she thinks this way, she will be furious, and your ancestors are stingy, so I am so bad. Looking at Yekong's arrogance, he was immediately supported by Zuji's real person, and the situation turned into 8 hits. Oh, group fights. Yekong Guang also couldn't support it with a big brick, he was a little overwhelmed. Those who built the base were overjoyed and shouted, he can't support it? Come on, give him some more powerful spells. Yekong sneered, I'm not as good as you when it comes to refining Rotan, but when it comes to spells, you are my grandson. After that, a magic charm wrapped in purple aura came out. Taste the taste of my latest spell. Thunderbolt Pure World Curse. Click. A loud sound really called the earth-shattering loud noise, the shining thunder and lightning illuminate the whole circle, and in a large area in front of Yema, at this moment it has become the of thunder and lightning. Countless bright thunders and lightnings fell from the sky and hit the sand, but they did not disappear, but became straight electric poles. Between the electric poles, there were countless lightnings roaming and colliding, and a huge electric arc was issued at the touch of them. The movement was so great that all the monks who were fighting there stopped, turning their heads. It seemed that when they the first reflection of seeing such an overbearing lightning was to look up at the sky. Of course, this thunderbolt is not as good as the thunderbolt, but there are many more. A total of 99 pillars of lightning support this thunderbolt, and the number of electric snakes in it is countless. Only those who are in it will understand why this is called thunderbolt. This is really a prison built by thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning bring hell. Their ears were filled with the sound of crackling currents, and bright lightnings made their frightened pupils pale. Of course, the duration of this feeling can only be calculated in seconds. Because soon, they were already fragmented. There is nowhere to run, there are thunder and lightning everywhere, and the only end in Thunder Prison is death. What defensive instruments, defensive spells, defensive armor, all collapse. You can't stop it 10 times, you can't stop it 10 times, you can't stop it 100 times. You can't resist the current, you can't prevent the arc, you can't protect the arc, you can't prevent the electric explosion. In short, if you don't escape, you will die. Of course, even if they were blasted into meat, those thunderbolts did not intend to let them go. The pieces of meat jumped up and down in lightning, and they were blasted into minced meat. The minced meat was beaten and scorched, and finally became black carbon and white crumbs. In the end, nothing was left, and the ghost did not want to give birth. Thunderbolt is clean, someone said, nodding. And Huang Shishi, who was sitting in the carriage, looked at the boy in front of the boundless thunder, his blue light flickered, his sleeves fluttered, he fluttered like a. There were more than a dozen real people in Zuji hanging here, and the monk Jadan over there was startled. I did not expect that the charm of this humble fake real person behind was so overbearing.